Sweeney here, and we have a real treat. Today we have on Kevin Davis. Now, Kevin has a pretty wide-ranging background, and he's recently launched his agency, PaidTraffic.co, and currently manages over 7 figures in ads, which is pretty impressive considering they've only been around for the greater part of this year. But he's been in the business and been doing things for a very long time. You might have seen him on Internet Marketing Super Friends. You may have seen some of his YouTube videos. I don't think he blogs too much right now, which we'll probably ask him about. And Kevin, I want to welcome you.
Thanks. And just to clarify the 7 figures, it's not 7 figures a month. It's 7 figures a year. So we're managing currently about $80,000 to $90,000 a month in ads. So,
my apologies. So
no problem.
First off, I want to ask you about your lead magnet because I've seen that PaidTraffic.co, they give away a Google Analytics dashboard. Is there a reason that you ended up deciding upon that for the lead magnet, compared to a standard video report?
Or report. I think because it actually provides them some value. Every time I've given those dashboards away to different people through Super Friends or just through email chats or Facebook messages and everything, people had installed the dashboards and they had all of a sudden, especially if they have e-commerce analytics set up, all of a sudden they're like, holy crap, I've never knew that I could just go to this one spot and get all this information. And so those dashboards really help, even if you're not having the e-commerce set up, to look at your traffic, where your traffic's coming from, what the mix of mobile versus non-mobile, and even what devices the mobile devices they're using also.
Gotcha. Have you seen it kind of connect, though, with the leads that you're going after, or is it more just almost branding in a sense?
As far as the dashboard stuff?
Yeah.
For the dashboard stuff, it's definitely something that we're setting up for our clients anyway, if they're coming into PaidTraffic.co, because we want to have the visibility of what's going on in the site. A lot of times we're looking at it at a much higher level because we're just looking at the number of leads that came in, how much we paid, and what the cost per lead is, and then the long-term conversion value. But we really want to look at other areas in order to optimize our ads, especially like on Facebook or even on some AdWords campaigns as well, to be able to see what type of devices they're on, what type of what size screen they're using, so we can adjust our landing pages and stuff to make sure that they work with that. Most of the time we're just using a responsive theme, and so it handles most of that well, and lead pages to the most large extent handles it as well.
Gotcha. Now, I have a few more shallow questions I like to call them before we dig deep into analytics and Facebook ads. But
okay.
to kind of give us an idea, out of that budget that you manage, do you kind of have a pie chart for us of where it tends to go? Google AdWords versus Facebook versus display, or?
A lot. Let's see. Right now, I would say 100%, 98% is Facebook. Mainly because a lot of the clients I'm working with just don't have landing pages and sites that are compliant right now with Google Analytics. We were originally hired to do a mix of traffic sources, but we couldn't get their sites approved with the latest changes as of January with AdWords, as well as the retargeting. Most of them are in the personal development space right now. And so it's a very touchy-feely sales page and lead opt-in page that a lot of networks don't really care for. And some, they didn't have you need to have a phone number and a physical address. Some had the P.O. box on there. So then they went out and got an office, and then they went and got a phone number and the email address and different things. And so it's harder, off of Facebook, it's harder to get offers approved, but once they're approved, then we can run it. On our e-commerce business, we still run AdWords on that, and then we do retargeting on Perfect Audience for that. So, but those aren't clients; those are our own business.
Can you give us any more information about the e-commerce business, even if it is more general? Because I've heard you guys mention it before, but I know nothing about it.
Yeah. So the business, my girlfriend bought it probably 6 years ago now.
First
It's
off, I want to mention how cool it is that you have a girlfriend that buys businesses.
yeah, and she's an attorney actually also.
Wow.
So 6 years ago, she was looking for some kind of business. She was in the mortgage industry and decided that she wanted some kind of fallback in case her job didn't work out. And so she bought an e-commerce business and it's actually we house the paper and do all the shipping and everything ourselves. Which is why we're liquidating that business currently so that we can become more virtual because my services side is a virtual and we don't have to be here shipping 5 days a week. So we're in the process of liquidating that through Facebook ads. So like the main audience for that are scrapbookers or card makers. And so like on the first course I did on Facebook ads, I showed the analysis of looking at magazine media kits to kind of get your demographic targeting for Facebook, or at that time, QuantCast was still around. We did a lot of research through QuantCast. And you're looking at scrapbooking niche, and we built like a 5,000 person list in a month off of scrapbooking on Facebook, running Facebook ads to a Facebook page for that business. And we've sold some different. We do make sales through Facebook and Pinterest. Through Pinterest, we had a design group that we would ship them paper every month, and they would create stuff out of the paper. They'd post that to our they would write the blog articles and send the photos.
Scrapbookers. That is awesome.
Yeah, and so that team would create projects with the paper that we give them, and that would provide the content for the blog. We'd have through Odesk, we had a person managing the blog, managing the Facebook page, and doing customer support. She left us recently also in the last month or so. And so rather than going out and hiring a new one, we decided maybe we're ready for a change. And we shopped the business around to sell the business, and that didn't seem to work out. So now what we're doing is we're just liquidating as much as we can of the stock to pay off what's left of the loans for that business and shutting it down.
So you're just going to end it completely?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And actually we're running, so we went from like 500 SKUs down to like 21 is what we have on now. So we used to sell all different colors of paper and textures and finishes. We'd have metallics and parchment and translucent, really thin stuff and different things. And now we're just selling it by the pound. So everybody that was our customer is like buying, like we have 80 pounds of paper that we're shipping today of orders, and people are just buying it by the pound. So they're buying a pound of blue and a pound of green and a pound of red and that type of thing.
Interesting. Very interesting. Scrapbooking, eh? So I want to touch on YouTube real quick. I've seen you mention it. You said, if people already have some traction, that they should look into connecting their AdWords account to their YouTube account and being able to set up some retargeting. So what experience have you had with YouTube? What kind of results have you seen? I mean, I've seen you guys on the social side. I know you guys have put out a lot of videos with Social Traffic Lab.
Yeah, we did a launch. We ran traffic for a launch in the triathlete space. And that worked really well on YouTube, doing the retargeting. So I actually mentioned that this week about if you have an audience on YouTube, then you should look at retargeting. And when I say you have an audience, I would probably say you have 50,000 or more views. And if you have, because the targeting can be the people that have viewed certain videos, and it could be individual videos, or it could actually be a sequence of videos. So you could say, I only want to target people that saw these 3 videos, or you can say, I want to see the individual ones. You can target people that subscribe to your channel, unsubscribe to your channel, liked the video, unliked the video, commented on any video. So all these different things you can target people on. So if you have a set of videos that really pre-qualifies a potential customer for you, those would be definitely the ones that you want to target. through retargeting. And you can, on how retargeting is different on Google versus like AdRoll or Perfect Audience. AdRoll or Perfect Audience, you're looking for a minimum audience of 1,000. Google's retargeting audience starts at 100. So you're 100 or 150. So even if you have a small audience on Google for retargeting, you can start your retargeting ads right away. And so if you do have, even a few thousand views, it's very easy for you to just point Google at those videos, do the connection, and you'll have an audience to start retargeting. And it actually looks historically for the last 30 days. So any activity in the last 30 days gets pulled into that audience when you set it up.
Gotcha. And so with the triathletes, was there anything specifically you learned from that campaign? Or?
On the triathletes, it was a launch, so it's a little bit different than the evergreen funnels that we normally work with. With that, we ended up following Mike Hill's suggestion where we were paying a higher CPM. So we were paying about, I think our bid was a $6 CPM on those ads. And we were running on YouTube, the only thing we ran was it's like 250 by 300 square rectangular ad that shows up next to the video up in the upper right.
Which is basically like a display ad.
Right, basically, yeah, it was display ad, display network. We weren't running any in-video ads at all. I'm interested in start doing that with some of the clients I have now in personal development because we're seeing really good results on Facebook running video ads on Facebook. And so I'm planning on starting to do some new YouTube campaigns on that as well.
Yeah, I know it gets talked about a lot because it's the most glorified case study. But I know I'll just write something down. Mike Chang has obviously done extremely well, with the six-pack secrets.
Six-pack abs, yeah. Yeah,
and which does lend itself nicely to YouTube. Yeah.
And he's a video animal as far as the number of videos and stuff that he's doing. So and that's one thing that we haven't done either that Mike does is Mike promotes his videos through his banner ads and stuff as well. So he's doing paid traffic to continually generate those views and different things and using the featured video ad as well.
Yeah. And I think he does pre-roll. I think he does basically.
And he does pre-roll as well too. I think because I know that I'm being targeted by him just by going out and trying to find out what he's doing.
Yeah, it's funny how that works, retargeting.
Yeah.
I do have a quick question about compliance. So you mentioned being Google compliant. I've read things here or there that Facebook might start getting more strict with their policies, especially now that they're introducing more in-house retargeting, I guess we could call it that. How do you feel about that? Are you concerned about that at all?
I'm not too concerned about it at the moment. A lot of that slap that people are talking about is targeted towards the Teespring offers, and it's kind of the majority because because you had so many Teespring courses come out through all these different channels. Everybody's doing it as a way to make these quick bucks, and they're really pushing the limit. And we've talked about this in Super Friends many times as far as the custom audiences and the terms of service that's associated with, in that people have this idea that if the scraper that they're using is using the API that within Facebook, that it's fine and everything's kosher, which is complete bullshit. No scraping whatsoever is kosher with Facebook as far as their terms of service is concerned. I've had people that have also said their ad rep is telling them that they're completely okay. I think that their ad rep is just looking for them to spend more money and that something is going to happen that they're then going to be in trouble eventually. Another ripple is going to happen and they're going to get cut, and then they're going to say, well, my ad rep told me, and they're going to say, well, your ad rep was mistaken, is basically, I think, what's going to happen.
As someone who's knowledgeable, I don't understand why if they basically don't allow it, why they still even allow the UID option.
Because the UID is intended of, let's say I had like if I use the Facebook Connect to log into my or to sign up for a membership on my site, I would then have the UID to that membership base because I'm using the login for that means. And in that case, then it's legitimate use of that UID because people have given me permission to use their information. If I am going out to a Facebook page and scraping everybody that commented on a post or started a post on a Facebook page or Facebook group, they have not given me consent to use that ID as an individual. And that's part of the, when you're creating or uploading the custom audience, there's a set of terms that's the only place where the link is to the terms is when you're actually uploading the custom audience. And it's pretty detailed in there as far as that you have to have an opt-out mechanism as well. Whereas if you scraped an audience, there's no way of you having really an opt-out mechanism unless Facebook is providing that means. And it could be that Facebook may implement some kind of opt-out option, kind of like there's some targeting opt-out mechanisms now for other networks, that they may put that in place and then start allowing that. But it all comes back to personal experience. And so that's what Facebook is really concerned about is the experience of their user base. And once the ripple gets big enough and becomes a wave, then they have to take action or have some repercussions.
Well, we have a tool that basically does, as you mentioned, Facebook Connect, but I know we do it through emails, at least as far as I'm aware. So that's where I still don't quite see the real necessity of having the UID option, because it seems like most people that are getting custom audiences by legitimate means are uploading emails or phone numbers.
Yeah, and the other thing is the way I use it for the most part, I mean, I will target a prospect list and overlay that with some targeting, but a lot of times I'm using lists to get similar lists rather than targeting ads to the existing list, just because it has a longer reach and I can run those ads a longer time. A lot of my management is for evergreen offers, and when I'm setting up the ads, it's really on a I manage the budget and the ad rotation and the day parting so that I can run an ad 30 to 60 days in length instead of changing my ads every something like that.
For how long? You blanked out. You're saying instead of running it for like a few weeks or a few days?
Yeah, I'm running it for 30 to 60 days, 90 days. I've had some ads run up to 90 days.
Very impressive. So you use those custom audiences then for lookalike audiences, I'm assuming?
Yeah, so lookalike audience optimized for similarity. And in some cases, if the similarity is working really well, I'll also try, there's two different ways you can do a lookalike audience. Well, you can do similarity or reach. And so at times I'll run test campaigns to reach as well. If the metrics are good enough and still in the cost per lead range of what my client is, then I'll start scaling out on reach as well.
Have you done that for website custom audiences as well, or have you had?
For the website custom audiences, you're talking about the Facebook retargeting that's now available?
Well, the lookalike audiences recently expanded, as I'm sure you've probably seen it, but it used to just be custom audiences, but now you can include Facebook fans, website custom audiences, conversion pixels, and app installs.
Yeah, the last two that were recently added, I haven't done a similar audience from those. So like I think it's the last two that you mentioned with the
app installs and the Facebook.
Those two. Yeah.
So yeah. I know you talk about overlaying your audience targeting. That seems to be a big factor that you use in a lot of your targeting. Can you kind of dive into that a little bit deeper and tell us how you go about that process? I mean, I know that you like to pull an avatar. You had a post on paid traffic about that, and it makes sense if you have this huge lookalike audience of 2 million people. They're really not that similar, but if you can start throwing the layering on top of it that you already know,
right?
It works well.
And I also use so to start with, to find those interests that you're overlaying. If the client has a big enough list, let's say 20,000 people or more on their list, I'll upload that first as a custom audience. And then the next thing I do is I'm using the graph search. And so either I'll start with their fan page if they have a good amount. So let's say if they have 10,000 fans or more, and they didn't just buy fans. Some people out there just go out and buy fans, which it completely defeats the purpose. It doesn't work anymore.
It actually makes your fan page worse because then
Yeah,
you have
and you
less
can't use
engagement.
it for market research. So
Yeah.
so hopefully if they didn't do that. I take their fan page and I look at pages liked by people who like their fan page is the graph search that I use. And that's going to tell me other pages that are related to that market, hopefully. And it seems like Facebook sorts them by probably the most relevant ones at top, and then it kind of works its way down. And so I start to go through that list, and anything over 100,000 fans, I start making a list on I have a flip chart. I don't have a whiteboard set up, but I use a flip chart. I start laying those all out. And I'll actually, when I write those out, I'll actually put the number of fans that page has as well next to it, so I can kind of see, where the big rocks are. And then the second one that I'll do is after I go through that, I may go through that same process with some other related pages. So if there's some really big pages on there that are really laser focused related to the offer, if they're in the personal development space, maybe like Tony Robbins or something like that, or Louise Hay, I'll do that same process with those and see what the overlay is in between them. And then the third thing I'll do is you can also say interest liked by people who like those pages, and that'll give you the hashtag interest that you use in the ads as well. And so there's actually some in there that really work really well. So like in the personal development space, there was 5 interests that came up predominantly when we overlaid their custom audience. It was thought, so hashtag thought, hashtag wisdom, hashtag belief, spirituality, and then we also saw yoga and meditation. The yoga and meditation does really well in the personal development space. I think it's partially because they're in this whole touchy-feely type of space with meditation and yoga already. So to go into
They're more open to that.
Yeah, to the mind of creating wealth, the law of attraction type of thing is kind of a next stage and is congruent with what they're already interested in. Those are doing really well for the personal development space. I have another client that started in May that is selling training on how to get an oil or gas job in Canada, in Alberta oil fields. That audience is males 25 to 34, blue collar. So like some of my targeting for that is going to be like Kid Rock. There's some truck driving jobs and stuff, so and heavy equipment jobs, so people that like Caterpillar, the different equipment manufacturers, some different beers, that type of thing, or energy drinks are a good target.
Clarify, when you say overlay, you're saying, so you take the custom audience, you will take a precise interest like yoga, and then you'll see how many of those are still within the audience?
Right.
Or...
Yeah. So I do that flip chart first. So I'll go through the fan pages first and do the graph search, make my list, and then I'll go back to that custom audience I uploaded. And so if they have an email list of 20,000, I'll have probably 9 to 10,000 that match in the custom audience by email. And then I'll start overlaying those audiences or those interests. And so interests that have more than 1,000 will show up as an actual number of match. And then those are the ones that I start using for my ad targeting. And so once I have that, then I'll have a narrowed down list of my targeting. And so then I go into Quia, put all the targeting in, and whatever age groups I'm going after. So like for most of my personal development offers, it's women 35 to 64. I break those up into 10-year age groups usually, depending on the size of the audience for those individual interests. and I split by interest. So now it's every ad set that I create. The targeting is a specific interest. I'm not grouping my interests together to create this huge audience. I'm not worried about that. I'm looking for audiences of 10,000 or more. An ideal audience is between 100 and 250,000 is usually what I'm looking for. And then so I'll create a number of ad variations with different images, and probably a couple different headlines and a couple different copy and maybe 5 different images. So I end up with probably like 20 different ads. I can't remember what the exponential growth is on that, but I'll end up with maybe 20 ad variations and maybe 25 to 40 ad targets, and then I'll run right-hand side ads for those to test copy and test targeting first. The main thing I'm looking at in those right-hand side ads, I'm looking for clicks. And so, like on a client that'll have starting out at maybe a $10,000 to $15,000 budget, I'll probably run $500 to $700 in initial ad spend just on finding which of those ads work best on the right-hand side for responsiveness. Of 300 to 500 ads running in the different interests and the different split tests of ads, there probably be about 20 to 30 that are the best performing ones. Those are the ones that get changed over to newsfeed ads and then go out to that same targeting.
When you're running that right-hand side, how are you bidding?
I'm bidding CPM optimized for clicks. For the most part, that's what I run. There's been several discussions that I've had that everybody has their optimized for conversion method that they say is perfect and everything. I've tried it several times, and I'm always open to try it again. I am going to be trying it again with Kurt Malley's method here this week, but every time I run it, when I look at it on long term and I look at it on the end conversion instead of just opt-ins, it always wins with my optimized for clicks, just because I'm getting a lot more volume of traffic.
Gotcha. And I mean it feeds back into testing 101. We actually have we have a buddy who still boosts Facebook posts, and I mean he's not very technical on the Facebook ad side, so it makes sense. But we actually just ran $120 through boosting posts just to prove for a case study for ourselves to say, hey, look, we're not just going to tell you this. We spent $120, so you don't have to spend $100 and waste it for no reason. Yeah,
and every time I boosted a post, I've always ended up I would have like 1 or 2 countries that made sense, but then I would have like 8 other countries that were like Indonesia and Bangladesh and all these other countries that are not my target audience. And you have to be, it's kind of like what did I used to call it? I used to call the post promotion something. It was kind of like it's not the simple man's marketing, but it was something to that effect. It just it makes you feel good that you're running ads, but you really don't have much of a performance out of it.
Well, and it's just you could do better. The reality.
Yeah, and it's just simply, I mean, even if you just still create that post, but just run an ad to it with good targeting, it makes a world of difference.
Yeah. So I also, I've seen you talk about a lot, and this was actually a kind of a preconceived notion that I thought had worked well, but I haven't seen in a while, was the whole tabbed opt-in, landing page or to get a like. So I kind of have 2 questions. I've read that you've said that hasn't worked well, so I'm interested in hearing you elaborate on that a bit. And
actually, go ahead.
Go ahead with that, and then we'll
okay. And actually, I was just talking about that on the previous call that I said with Nathan Lotko with Heyo, because he has a tab solution. His software is to build these custom tabs. And I had said to him that, it's night and day between my opt-ins on a website versus my opt-ins on a custom tab. He's like, why is that? I don't understand. I was like, So then I went back to one that I had set up with lead pages, and when I'm looking at it now, there isn't ads on the custom tab. When I ran those tests on the custom tab before, Facebook was testing out running ads on that custom tab as well when they went to the wider timeline format, and it looks like they're not doing that now. So it may be that, that's something I do need to test here in the near term with some of my clients, because, and everybody said, and part of the reason why people are saying they're doing it is because they're getting cheaper clicks. Mm-hmm. And that's where it comes down to, I want to see cheaper conversions and cheaper sales instead of just cheaper clicks. And you also have to look at it.
You don't bid for the conversion. So.
Right, and when you're running traffic to the Facebook page, and even if it's just a post, you have to differentiate between website clicks and the people that actually clicked off to your offer, and actual clicks to just liking the page, sharing it with someone else, or commenting. All of those are counting on clicks, and that's what people aren't. They're looking at, oh, my cost per click is 20 cents. Well, yeah, your cost per click is 20 cents, but your actual website click out to where they're actually converting is $1.20 or something like that. Yeah. And so that's what you have to be watching on. But we are running campaigns now. I'm sure you saw Rich Sheffrin's ad for Brian. He has a testimonial from Brian Tracy in a video. Mm-hmm. And he's been running that ad since October. And it's going to an automated webinar. We're running a similar ad right now in personal development that we have a testimonial from Bob Proctor, and it's doing really well. And the problem was when Rich was running that initially, both the timeline video and the right-hand side ad click to video were both coming up in a light box. And so it blanked out everything else. You didn't have any distractions. You have this Facebook video and the copy that's beside it, and then partway through the video, there's an arrow pointing to the copy saying, hey, sign up for the webinar. Now you can only do that on right-hand side. Now within timeline, as you're scrolling through your timeline, if it's a Facebook video, it starts to play the video without audio, and it doesn't come up in the light box anymore. So it's lost its effectiveness a little bit, but it's still extremely effective. It's still converting really well for us as well. And when we look at it, it's a higher cost per lead for us, but it's a cheaper cost per sale. So they're higher converting on the sales side than they are on the lead side.
Gotcha. Which I feel like everything you said, every single thing was always connecting to 3 different questions I have, so I'm never sure where to go next. Because that kind of feeds into really understanding your metrics, but I want to wait a little bit on that.
Yeah.
In your analytics. Video ads on Facebook though, I don't see a lot of people talking about this, and you just said it. It's done very well. So do you kind of have any other best practices as far as that? You mentioned the video, which points back to the ad and to sign up for the webinar.
Yeah, on that, and that's the thing is with the post that has a Facebook video in it, that is the only way that you can legitimately get a play button on your ad on the right-hand side. If you try to submit, at least in the past, if you try to submit an ad that had the little triangle play button on it, because like if you did a screenshot of a YouTube video or whatever, Facebook, once it went in through, you may get it through the automated, but when it goes through a manual review, they'll turn off that ad and give you a warning actually. But if it's a Facebook video, it'll actually show up, and when they click the ad, what happens is it goes from the right-hand side to the light box, and now you have complete control over the experience. So it's really something to test out. And even on the news feed, it still does very well. I think because people are scrolling through their news feed, they get to that video, and it's playing without audio, and so then they're clicking to hear the audio, and then it's still enough. It's kind of a disconnect because the arrow is pointing to the right, but the link is either above or below that video in the news feed. But they figure it out anyway.
Gotcha. So, sorry, I'm just writing down notes. With a quick aside, with the Facebook Connect tool, have you seen, as far as opt-ins, what do you like? Do you like the lead pages, click and then box pops up? You mentioned before how different, I listened to the Business Growth podcast, and different leads cost different amounts. So just an email is going to cost less than name and email, than phone and email, and webinar registration.
Right.
So what do you
And I
like to
haven't
go
tested
for?
Facebook Connect in a while. But when I tested it before, like when Ben Atkins was coming out with his tool and Todd Gross and all those tools were coming out, I tested it in the scrapbooking market because that's what we were working on at that point. It just didn't work well because people didn't want, the permission box would come up and people didn't want to give permission because they're afraid, even though you're saying that you're only giving permission for this amount, I'm afraid that you're going to do something else. Because, I mean, there's a lot of times of people saying, oh, crap, my Facebook account's been hacked. Oh, someone's taken over my Facebook account. People are seeing that way too much that they're afraid to give permission to it. And I knew from our personal experience with Spence and I, we don't want to give permission for our Facebook email or our Facebook account because we are afraid of what permission that you could have. And then am I going, if I want to opt out or I want to take permission away, am I going to remember to go through all the different settings I have to go through to take permission away? Or would I rather just give you an email? So I think on mobile, I think it could work really well. Because on the mobile experience, you want to give them some way to just give a one-click way to sign up. But I think it's something that I need to test again. I think there may be more acceptance now than there was initially.
I think that's kind of the big change is that a lot of people have clicked that at least a few times now. I mean,
Yeah.
I know with me, as long as I trust the site, I'm like, okay. All
Yeah.
right. Like,
I still don't do it.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
But I do feel like it's more accepted, and in a way, people are more used to the process. You know, if you've clicked it 5 times, it almost becomes subconscious. You're like, okay.
Yeah, but then if I go in and look at the number of apps that have permission to my account, there's probably 100 that I have given permission, and I just forgot about it or whatever over the years and stuff too. So I mean, and then for name versus email, for the most part now, I'm just looking at email. It's a higher conversion rate. I'm just asking for email instead of name and email, and I'm not personalizing the email that's going out to them within the follow-up sequence because, yeah, depending on the audience, people will not get that that's some automated follow-up, and yeah, you may be connecting with them by mentioning their name and stuff, but in our audience that we work with, people see through that, I think.
And it becomes too transparent.
Yeah, and I haven't looked at, in our personal development clients, I haven't really looked at their follow-up and seen, if there's a difference between when they're connecting with them with their name or not. A lot of times we use Office Autopilot, and so we can segment our list just by them clicking on a link in the email. We do that a lot, where we'll survey people with a question in the email, but we won't actually take them out to a survey form. Or even signing up for a webinar, we'll just say, hey, click here to sign up for the webinar, and it'll take them to a thank you page, and they'll say, wait, hey, I didn't sign up for this. Am I signed up for the webinar and stuff? So you have to be clear on that thank you page that they are registered for the webinar's at this time and stuff like that, and hey, by the magic of marketing, you're already signed up because you're already on our name, your email's already on our list. We don't need your email again. And that simplifies the process.
I keep getting Ben Atkins webinars, and
yeah.
I'm personally friends with him, but I'm like, I really don't remember what I signed up for that, I keep getting these.
Some people just use the automated link to sign you up for GoToWebinar over and over and over again.
But I don't know if I signed up for like a monthly or, if I might be in one of his memberships that I didn't realize I was in or something like that. It's one of those funny moments. I do wonder though with the sorry, not to cut you off.
The other thing with Lead Pages has a feature now that if they filled out a form through Lead Pages before, it pre-fills the form on Lead Pages, which I think is part of what's increasing conversions on Lead Pages now as well. Because, I mean, with one client, I have 3 funnels that every one of those landing pages is converting 70% opt-ins with just an email address.
So your job's easy.
It's extremely easy, and that customer's extremely happy. Because and they're going from that page to a webinar sign up, and the webinar sign up's converting 42% of those people. So whatever, if I start out with 1,000, I would have 700 sign up for the email address, and then 42% of the 700 are signing, or 40 to 45% are signing up for the webinar. So whatever 40% of 700 is, I'm getting on a webinar sign up. So, and that was, thank God for that client, because he had that system pretty much in place, and we just tweaked the front end conversion a bit for him, and just keep on sending him more and more traffic and more conversions.
Gotta love good clients.
And it's interesting on that offer too is we're actually sending some general business traffic to that, and it still has held steady at 70% and 40% for that funnel. And it's like leadership, management, sales, marketing, and those type of interests on business interests, which is a huge starting audience of over 1 million.
If you exhaust Facebook, you could try LinkedIn.
And actually, I do have another possible client that I'll find out tomorrow whether he's going to move forward or not, that wants LinkedIn traffic. And his is targeting business and executive coaches. And yeah, business and executive coaches, yeah, there's like 900,000 for one and 500,000 for another on LinkedIn. People searches when you search for those two.
Yeah. So I imagine you haven't done too much LinkedIn yet, but knowing your mastery of paid ads in general, you're probably not.
Yeah, and I think LinkedIn's like a $2 minimum bid.
Yeah.
On ads. Yeah.
Which I think they suffer from a little bit.
Yeah, because this guy is looking. I haven't seen his metrics on his landing page, but he's looking to get like a $5 an opt-in. So it depends on how well LinkedIn will do with that, and what I can get that down to. But I was telling him, I said, well, for our first tests are going to be Facebook, but you have the budget. We're willing to spend some money on LinkedIn, and I just got AdStage.io beta. I got into that, which supports LinkedIn.
Ad Scrambler.
Ad Scrambler?
Yeah,
that's the plugin for that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So are you on AdStage?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
We have a buddy of ours who's friends with, I don't know who in there, but one of the guys. But no, we're not on it currently.
So so he's running ads on AdStage with Ad Scrambler?
No, I don't think he.
Okay.
Our buddy is actually he's very good at networking, but he's not on the paid ad side.
Okay. But how did you know about Ad Scrambler?
It's one of the recently released features. AdStage is one of the
finally
one of the blogs I follow.
Yeah.
They usually have some good stuff.
Yeah, they have some work to do yet, but it's promising, and I talked to the Quia guys this week as well. I talked to Sven, and I said, well, I'm trying to get into AdStage. They finally said if I want to pay them, I can move to the front of the line. So that's what I ended up paying them. Actually I gave him my card now. I gave him the card for $99 a month to move to the front of the line of beta. So that's the key to move to the front of the line of AdStage. I've been trying to get into AdStage for like 5 months now, I think. And some people had said, "Oh yeah, I'm in." I'm like, "How the hell did you get in?" I mean, I have a paid agency.
Maybe
their target.
You.
Well, it is kind of, because their target isn't an agency, because they don't have multiple account support right now. If you want to run ads on a different account, you have to change all your connections over to your other account if you're running multiple accounts. So that's the downside of it. But in theory, I like the idea of optimizing across platforms. But I've hit some different rocks in the road as far as the setup. So and one of the reasons why I pushed getting into AdStage is the new client that wants LinkedIn ads. And actually he wants a mix of Facebook and AdWords and LinkedIn, and with AdStage, I can also bring in Bing. So right now, I'm going to start running ads for the e-commerce through our discount card stock through AdStage with a Facebook, AdWords, and Bing mix to test that out on some smaller budgets. And that's what they're recommending. I mentioned some $30,000 a month, $50,000 a month budgets, and they weren't too keen on that initially, I think, on Facebook. So, because the one that they came back with, I said, oh, and I also have an e-commerce business that I'm running smaller budgets on, about $2,500 a month. That was the one that came back and said, well, maybe you want to start testing out on the $2,500 a month one. So, and if it works well, then let us know, and we'll create separate accounts for managing other campaigns and stuff. So.
Now, I have one more question on the Facebook Connect tool, because when you mentioned uploading the list and you know how many matched in the custom audience, I wonder, in this similar vein of, you know, you're saying how cost per leads were more expensive, but they converted better. If you're using a Facebook Connect tool that gives you a Facebook email, and then your custom audiences are going to match up more,
right?
Does that make up for the decrease in conversions, or that compared to a different tool? So I wonder that.
Yeah, I think because like when we were looking at building out Social Traffic Lab from individual ads to a complete ad suite, kind of like what Lugier was and what Heyo is now, we were going to require a Facebook Connect for all of our customers, because in our positioning on that is we have to have access to your pages anyway to automatically seamlessly install the apps on your page. So there it would make sense. For the personal development folks, I think the best way to do it is if you could wrap a membership site around it, so that you may not do it on the front end opt-in, but for them to consume the product, or to even get additional content, even after that opt-in, saying, hey, you know, besides the free report that you just downloaded, we have a ton of video in our members area, and to get into the members area, just hit this Facebook Connect, and you're in automatically with your Facebook credentials. That would be a positioning that I think would work a lot better on the Facebook Connect, instead of saying, hey, for this free report, this free PDF, you know, give me all your Facebook credentials, and we'll get that out to you.
Gotcha. That definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the kind of Tripwires and other low cost?
So the Tripwires, like the $7 offer, the Ryan Dice, Terry Belcher things. We have a couple clients that are looking at that were out of traffic and conversion and are setting up some funnels towards that. On a couple clients, it doesn't make sense because they're higher end offers. In their mind, the Tripwire offers are going to degrade their higher end $2,000, $5,000, $27,000 coaching program, that they would rather give really great free content without doing that. But they could do like a free plus shipping type of thing to get a DVD or audio CD, if people even play audio CDs anymore.
Audio CD? Why would you send them a dinosaur bone?
I know, and that's the whole thing. So it's kind of like, what would you offer in the personal development space? One thing that would be really good, I think, that people haven't implemented, but I think some people have, is kind of like a personality assessment. So, I mean, some people do it where they go through a personality assessment, and then in order to get this report in the mail, the full report, you're going to pay for $7 to get the results to it, type of thing. So you take them through the email opt-in to start the process. You then go through a series of questions that are really micro commitments leading up into this completed assessment. Now you have that completed assessment on your side, and you can tell them, well, you're a turtle, or you're an owl, or you're a whatever from the 1 Minute Millionaire series with Mark, Victor Hansen, Robert Allen. that similar type of profiling. But then to get this whole complete personality profile, just check out here for $7. We'll send that out to you, and the best way for you to experience that and actually take action is to actually pay for that assessment, and we'll send it out to you by mail along with some information about different programs that we have that and maybe it's a discount coupon for a program in your area coming up type of thing.
Well, because I mean, I do wonder on it's, and you mentioned this on the Business and Growth podcast.
Okay. We'll see you in just a minute. We'll see you tomorrow? Yeah. Okay. I'll if you can get him, that would be great. My cat escaped the door and our employee's leaving. So.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, so he's going to grab him. So you were saying...
On a cash flow perspective, it seems like a lot of the people you're working with obviously probably can afford, with these higher ticket sales to not break even on the leads or make profit on the leads. But
right.
People that are just starting out, having a more front-end product does kind of help them on a cash flow perspective. And I also, though, do wonder on a conversion aspect of having their credit card, having all this information already filled in makes it easier for them to purchase.
Right. And so if you're using like Infusionsoft and they agree on the phone that, yeah, I want to continue with coaching or whatever, you can just hit the card again after the approval form is done and stuff like that. Yeah, it definitely, and that's the reason for the Tripwire is to have that credit card information in place so you can do the other sale and stuff. Yep. And so, yeah, it makes sense. And we're looking at doing something like that even in paid traffic because we're looking at our course for Facebook Masterclass or Retargeting Masterclass or Google Analytics Masterclass as kind of an entry of people that have this idea that they want to do, they want to run their own campaigns themselves, but then once they get in there and do that and start applying what's being taught in that course, they'll realize saying, screw that, I just want to run my business. Can you guys run these ads for them? And then they'll get into our consulting call of saying, okay, what is your budget? And we also have a client intake form, and that's, I haven't been in Kevin Nation's programs or anything like that, but he has that type of thing where in his program it goes through a client intake form where it says, okay, where are you at now? Where are you looking to go? And we have that same type of thing within paidtraffic.co where people can go out, fill out the form, and we have people do that before they get on a 30-minute call with us to see what their budget is and what in their mind their cost per lead goal is and what they feel their target audience is, their avatar is and stuff. And so we capture that in the client intake form before we go out there. And it just gives us more value before we have those initial conversations with a potential client. So we're looking at kind of a Tripwire offer, but at probably not at the $7. I have to come up with something else that would be at a $7 thing. One thing that would be possibly that would be we have a script set up now that people can use to bring. Right now it's set up with Office Autopilot to bring stats in from Office Autopilot into a dashboard like Geckoboard, Duxboard, Clipfolio. We can set up the same type of thing for Infusionsoft, and those are really our two markets are Infusionsoft customers, Office Autopilot customers. So we could set up a Tripwire thing like that where it would be, $1 a month or $7 a year or whatever to get access to those. It's not a huge amount of bandwidth.
You could do something like $1 a month or $7 lifetime.
Yeah, something like that is what I'm thinking, and it would bring them their stats by tag, so the number of contacts by tag or the number of sales per day type of thing to bring those metrics into Geckoboard or Duxboard or whatever. And we can probably even set up a partnership with those dashboard companies to say, hey, this is our offer. We have a thing that keys in directly into your dashboard. We'd like to just set up a relationship with you that through our training of the setup of this little tool, it then sends them over to Geckoboard or Duxboard, whichever one of them wants to play with us.
Yeah, whichever one plays nice.
Yeah.
with retargeting, I was on with Joe Troy the other day, who
Mm-hmm.
brought us together, and something that they've done in their business is a lot of telephone, phone calls,
Yeah,
and
yeah, and they have some software for that as well.
analytic call tracking.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, have you done anything with retargeting or shopping cart abandonment is what he specified it for. And as we mentioned, it's not like a hardcore close call. It's more just like, hey, you were filling out the form. I noticed you stopped. And typically they'll have a few questions. So I wonder if you've ever incorporated anything along those lines. I know he does. I think he does text first, then email, then voice, then an actual physical phone call.
We haven't done that. We've done with Call Loop. We've used Call Loop with Google Hangouts, and so with the triathlete client, we were running traffic filling Hangouts, and the Hangout was in place of the webinar in that space for the launch, for the card open. And so we would have 800 to 1,500 people on a Google Hangout in the triathlete space, and then they would, at 45 minutes past the hour, they would announce the offer in the cart, and then they'd stay on for, I think, usually about an hour and a half. They'd stay on talking about different stuff for coaching triathletes. On the other side of it, we do generate phone leads for personal development, and so it goes in that funnel. It's going directly to a landing page to schedule a mentoring session, a 30-minute mentoring session, and there's a video content. There's about an hour of video content on that page, and so when they land on the page, there's content that they could get to there. For the most part, people aren't spending more than 15 minutes on that page before they're giving up their phone number to schedule a call anyway or leaving. But those phone leads are just going into an outbound call center, and they just keep on calling them. They're not even scheduling a time for that mentoring session. It's just going into where they are just calling them and continuing to contact them until they make the contact. And then they're selling them on $5,000 to $7,000 coaching. So $5,000 is like paid in full, and then $7,000 is the payments. But that's all we've done. We've generated phone leads that then go into a call center, and they just keep on dial for dollars in a sense.
Yeah.
Not following up with abandonment. We haven't implemented anything like that for our clients.
So to warm us back up, are fans still relevant? I know Loomer, John Loomer talks about getting fans, getting them as a fan first, then getting them more as an opt-in, then kind of selling them. It seems like you tend to more just take people straight to a landing page.
Yep.
So what's your take on that? I mean, I imagine it depends on the brand and the company, but
yeah, it seems like I'm against everybody. I fly in the face of all reason of everybody else. I don't, because you're talking about running ads to get fans, right?
Yeah, well, just more so, I mean, are fans even worth getting? Obviously, you're not going to tell someone not to like your page, but besides social proof, with reach the way it is, and with targeting the way it is, it kind of seems, if they would at least give you some sort of like, hey, it's a little bit cheaper to advertise to your own fan.
Right. What I'm finding is running newsfeed ads, you're getting fans just as a byproduct.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, when we, once they gave us access to their fan page on the one client, we moved from right-hand side to newsfeed. It's like you can look at their fan graph, and it just goes up and up and up and up, and it's continuing to grow. And it's just been running the ads, and they're like, oh my God, we could just run ads and we keep on getting fans, because yeah, fans have a place, like you said, for social proof, and we don't really run ads targeting fans. We used to do that on the e-commerce on discount card stock. For the most part, I mean, you could target I mean, we do target friends of fans because that's opening up to a much larger audience. And it's usually, like on the e-commerce side, it's usually around events like Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, Christmas, and that type of thing of, hey, you know, you could get a gift, because we had gift certificates, get a gift certificate for your mother, get a gift certificate for the special person in your life, for the special scrapbooker in your life, or something like that, or card maker in your life. And fans you do want fans on your page. You want to have a fan base. Like I said earlier, you want to not buy fans. I'm against buying fans, but
agreed wholeheartedly.
And I'm against running ads specifically for the sole purpose of getting fans. If I'm going to run ads, I'd rather run a newsfeed ad to an offer that has an image on it that gets shared a lot and gets fans, people liking the post and liking the page just because they like the image. So like one of the images in personal development that we run that I got from, for some reason, a fly is now attracted to me, it's a beach with the water coming in, and then in the sand it has written "Believe," and that gets shared a ton just because of the image. But I mean, and like that ad, I mean, we've been running an ad for I think close to 3 months now, and the ad has like 5,000 likes on it itself, like 200, 300 comments, and like 500 shares on that ad. So I mean, if you create your ad well enough, that ad is going to be what gets people to like your page, because they're gonna, when they click on that,
organic way to get them to like your page, and I
right.
guess how it should be, instead of like, hey, like my stuff. It's like,
yeah, especially like, and we did do that in the beginning of click like if you love scrapbooking, and we created this whole scrapbooking fan page and grew it to 13,000 fans in 2 months of running those type of ads with crazy cheap click, the penny clicks method of doing it. But yeah, we didn't make that much money off of that fan page though, and it isn't, it isn't pit bulls, or I'm not selling T-shirts and bumper stickers or anything like that. I was trying to sell cardstock, and it just didn't work well enough. We built a email list off of that as well, but yeah, I'm not the run ads to fans guy. And I think
it makes sense though. I mean, I guess in a way it's weird, because it's kind of become, what is the purpose of a Facebook fan? If the reach is where it's at, it just kind of,
The Facebook fan page serves a purpose for...
Well, of a Facebook fan itself, I'm saying. You have the fan page, of course, but after you have enough fans for social proof, is it really worth the effort to get more? I mean, I would almost argue that getting people to like a piece of content, having that content go viral, is more beneficial than getting those same likes for your fan page.
Yeah, because a fan page there's too much distraction and too much stuff going on a fan page. Whereas if you have a piece of content and they're liking that, and the thing is now, like with lead pages or any other page, you can just embed the like button from your actual page on those pages. And that's the thing to do, is on all your landing pages, include a like button on the landing page, but have that like button point back to your page. And so you're building your likes through all of the assets, all the content assets you have, that you're using as part of your marketing, your content strategy. Have them all point back to the same resource, and so it just keeps on building more and more like. Because what you're seeing when they come to their page, the benefit of that is they're going to see all their different friends that like it as well, and that's where the real power is within that. And I would say, instead of running ads to build likes, create a strategy of where you're using a single like button on all your content pieces that's building your like base. And then it does make sense then for targeting, because then you can build that 100,000, 500,000 likes off your content if you have a really good content machine, and then you can start targeting them with ads that way, but not to run ads to create likes. I'm against that.
Took a hard stance on it. Now,
yeah,
you might be the smartest person I know when it comes to analytics and metrics.
there's been a few people that have said that.
According to things I've read, and it's actually something that does interest me, but for some of the other people out there, or even someone that wants to get deeper into it, is there a book? Is there I mean, obviously you got to dig in and get experience, but is there some sort of training? How do you get better in analytics and metrics?
There's now really, there is a couple books, but there's one book that I think it's Web Metrics with Google Analytics. Mm-hmm. I've mentioned it in Super Friends. I've recommended it in there, I think. I do everything through Kindle app on my iPad. I still go to Barnes and Noble, unfortunately, and look at books and review them before I go out and buy them on the Kindle. But luckily, some people still buy books in those stores that they stay in business so far. But their days are numbered, I think. But yeah, then there's another one. If you're running like a software company, there's a book, I think it's from Ash Maurya, Maurya. He's a startup person. It's called Lean Analytics. And so when you look at churn and registrations as far as activations, and then that whole type of thing as far as software, Lean Analytics is a good book as well, just from overall analytics. And then the other one with the web metrics with Google Analytics is specifically Google Analytics. One of the stumbling blocks that we had for practically a year was setting up e-commerce analytics correctly, because every book and every blog post and every article online that I read had a different method of doing it, and it was, I think in the end, I think this book has it correct, but it was like a mismatch of all the different ones. Everyone was leaving out one little piece, and I think this book is the one that I ended up with at the end that had the whole picture together, and it's like in the 5th edition, I think, or something like that. There was just an update to Google Analytics, if anyone hasn't seen it yet. That is really awesome. Universal Analytics is now out of beta, and with a conversation with Mike via text this week, he thinks that this latest round of updates to Google Analytics is possibly a KISS metrics killer.
Ooh.
Because it's pulling in your age groupings, your interests, and all the stuff that you can get in Google AdWords is now going to be available in Google Analytics for every visitor to your website. So it's going to be really cool.
That fly is really loving you.
Yeah, he is. I think I've sweated enough out there. It's about 85 degrees in Palm Springs today, so.
I'm going to have to make the obligatory first world problems joke.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's so hot. I might have to go for a swim in my pool.
At least I don't have a fur coat like my dog next door to me. So, yeah.
Oh man. All right. So to close out, for people who are looking to get their feet a little bit wet with retargeting,
yeah.
What do you kind of recommend as far as common pitfalls or best practices? How to get their foot in the door?
For retargeting, a great way to do it if you're just starting out. First you can retarget anybody that's been to your website with even just a Facebook pixel.
Yeah.
But the real power in retargeting is to pick certain pages and just retarget people based on what they've experienced. So you can target other pieces of content or other offers that are specific based on the pages that they've done. So like in Social Traffic Lab, we were retargeting people based on specific pages they've had based on different products. So the people that had visited the page for the Squeeze Page app, or the people that had visited the page for our LinkedIn or LinkedIn profile course, or the different apps, we would then retarget them based on the page that they visited, and you can set up another retargeting pixel on the page, the thank you page for if they bought the product. So what happens is people that are going to your sales letter, so especially if you're driving traffic to the sales letter and you're paying for that traffic, target the people that have been to the sales letter but haven't converted yet. So you set up two audiences, one of the people that visited the sales letter and one of the people that visited the thank you page. So you include the people that went to the sales letter, exclude the people that went to the thank you page, and now you can start retargeting those people back to that offer. The other thing that you can do is target people based on the emails that they've opened. So Perfect Audience, on that retargeting platform, they have a specific pixel that you can include in your emails. If they have images turned on in their emails, you can then start retargeting people based on the emails that they've opened as well. So like when we're doing a launch, we'll set up pixels in each email in that sequence, and then we'll target people based on the emails that they've opened within the sequence if they haven't gone out to the sales letter, to bring them out to the sales letter.
Do you have, maybe a bit more granular example of how you've done that with the emails and emails being open?
Yeah, so on emails, it's basically an image pixel. So in order for the retargeting to work, they have to have images turned on in the email. Some people, there's actually a Mind Valley Insights video that talks about it through an email sequence. I don't think it's Jason Drone. I can't remember who had it, but he's driving them back to a piece of content. We normally drive back on our retargeting campaigns are driving back to a sale because a lot of people look at retargeting as the cheaper click because they're more likely to click, and usually they'll set their budgets to be lower clicks. We max out our retargeting cost. So we bid higher than anything on our retargeting traffic and drive them to a sale. So since I'm bidding higher, I'm paying a higher CPM, I want to give them the first opportunity to buy. And so that's why we run them out to a sales letter usually.
You just got to do everything different.
Yeah, I'm contrarian, I guess. Yeah.
But it sounds like that's moving things forward. So, Kevin,
Yeah.
I'll close it up here because I know it's getting hot outside.
Yep.
And I appreciate you a lot coming on today. Like I said, I have that. I kind of have that written out, so I might throw that in a blog post if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Credit. Okay. Sounds good. Appreciate you coming on a lot. I hope to see paytraffic.co blogging a bit more.
Yeah, it is.
Too smart. You were too smart to.
And Spencer's actually, gosh, this fly. Spencer's actually joining me in paytraffic.co now, and he's going to be doing more of the customer management and the reach out and that high touch stuff. And he's a lot more of an animal with the video content and stuff in the interviews. So I think we're going to see a paytraffic.co podcast as well. It might be under a different brand, but it'll see it on paytraffic.co as well. So
awesome. Excited to see it. Well, I will let you go, and we will definitely keep in touch, all right?
Yep. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
Yep. See ya.